wonder what the scenario would be if it was a, God forbid, some horrible season-ending or even career-ending knee injury. Then what would it mean for Nike?
I can never, you've seen a player fall out of his shoe, have a shoe fall off.
For a long time, being signed to Nike was seen as the peak of athletic endorsement. It was the holy grail every aspiring baller dreamed of, the kind of deal that meant you had officially arrived. But in recent years, things seem to have changed, especially among our NBA faves. What could have caused this sudden cold shoulder from NBA athletes to Nike?
This week, the company posting its first earnings under new CEO Elliott Hill.
Nike beating on the top and bottom lines, but its sales fell 8%.
Analysts say it's the beginning of a long turnaround for the company, after what should have been an Olympic gold earnings summer. Nike shocked the market.
Shares of Nike are in free fall after they missed on revenue last night and cut their full-year earnings guidance. The shares, down 20%, are on pace for their worst day ever.
Before now, Nike had built an empire on the backs of basketball icons, creating a near monopoly in the sneaker game. If your shoes had the swoosh, you weren't just a player, you were a brand. But lately, something has shifted in the culture. Quietly, steadily, and now undeniably, a wave of NBA stars are stepping away from Nike. Not because Nike suddenly forgot how to make great sneakers, but because players are no longer willing to be sidelined in their own stories. It seems like the old formula doesn't cut it anymore. Signing a check and slapping a logo on someone's name isn't enough in this new era of player empowerment. Today's athletes aren't just ballers, they're brands, voices, and cultural beacons. They want more than exposure. They want equity. They want input. They want to build something real. The swoosh, for all its legacy and muscle, has become too big, too corporate, and in some cases, too slow to recognize that the relationship between players and brands has evolved. Players no longer want to be managed, they want to collaborate. And that need for control, ownership, and identity is the real story behind why some of the NBA's biggest names are walking away from what was once seen as an untouchable partnership. Take the Kyrie Irving situation, for example. What went down between him and Nike wasn't just about a tweet or a shoe launch gone wrong. It was a full-blown clash of visions. Kyrie didn't just want a signature shoe. He wanted to shape every part of it, from design to messaging. He wanted a line that represented him fully, not just something that would sell units. Nike, on the other hand, wasn't trying to give up that kind of creative control. And once tensions boiled over, it became clear that the two weren't aligned on what a partnership should look like. Kyrie wanted purpose. Nike wanted polish. That disconnect cost them one of the most bankable and culturally influential players in the league.
The biggest accomplishment that we've had in my shoe line is just evolving with the technology at Nike and it really being specifically made for me. We have the Zoom airbag. I want it to be obviously locked down, but my Zoom airbag has to be functional. You obviously have the 360 traction. It's more dynamic, it's more fitted for my style of play. We added a strap. It's really about the tightness in the grip, feeling like the shoe won't ever come off.
But Kyrie wasn't just another frustrated athlete. He was the first major symbol of a changing tide. His next move was proof. He didn't just hop to another American giant. He went to Anta, a Chinese brand that most NBA fans hadn't thought about twice. And instead of just inking a deal, he signed on as the chief creative officer. That's not just a title, that's power. That's the direction. That's a player refusing to be boxed in. And when you look at the success of his first Anta releases, how quickly they moved, how well they connected with fans, you start to realize that this was bigger than just a brand swap. It was a new blueprint.
And then when they approached me, I thought it was interesting to hear about how their process works, about how they identify an athlete.
And it's not like Nike hasn't had chances to keep these stars in their camp. Look no further than the Stephen Curry debacle. Back in the early 2000s and 10s, Nike had every opportunity to lock him in. He was rising fast, catching fire with Golden State, and perfectly poised to be the next face of their basketball division. But just when things were getting good, Nike dropped the ball hard. From mispronounced names in meetings, recycled pitches, to a general lack of energy around the deal, Curry finally understood exactly where he stood. He wasn't a priority, nor was he being taken seriously. So he walked. And what happened next? Under Armour, a brand nobody associated with basketball dominance at the time, gave him the attention, respect, and control he deserved. And the rest, they say, became history. Curry didn't just elevate Under Armour, he carried them into the spotlight. His shoes now rival Jordan's in cultural relevance and commercial performance. Essentially, this same pattern has been repeated with other stars. It's not just about the money anymore, it's about what the deal means. Players are reading the fine print, asking the hard questions, and making decisions that align with their long-term vision. They're not just thinking about their playing careers, they're thinking about legacy. And in this climate, signing with Nike sometimes feels like giving up more than you gain. Because when you're signing with a giant, you often get treated like a cog in a machine, not the engine. The game off the court is just as strategic as the one on it. Today's players are tuned in. They're investing, building brands, producing media, and creating movements. And the companies that get that, really get that, are the ones winning. Look at PUMA and how they've handled LaMelo Ball. Instead of trying to tame his style or tone down his eccentric flair, they leaned all the way in. They gave him freedom, embraced his personality, and designed shoes that matched the energy he brings to the court. That's how you build loyalty. That's how you get buy-in from players who aren't interested in being just another face in the campaign. LaMelo didn't need a brand to define him. He needed a brand that let him define himself. By the way, it's not just the flashy stars making waves in the sneaker world anymore. Even the role players, the up-and-comers, and the guys still carving out their space in the league are catching the attention of sneaker brands that are hungry and ready to shake things up. These lesser-known players are no longer waiting for validation from the traditional giants. Instead, they are embracing deals that come with more than just a paycheck. Brands like 361 Degrees and Li Ning are stepping into the spotlight with offers that feel more personal, more flexible, and far more appealing to the modern athlete. They are not just offering endorsement deals. They are giving players creative control, a say in design, and sometimes even ownership stakes. That kind of empowerment hits differently. It gives players the chance to be part of something meaningful instead of just being a name slapped on a box. This change is disrupting the old model completely. Nike still has the loudest voice in the room, but they are no longer the only ones talking. In a world where options are expanding by the day, every brand has to fight harder, listen better, and offer more to stay in the conversation. Reputation plays a part too. In an era where every action is scrutinized and values matter more than ever, how a brand responds to controversy can make or break a relationship. Kyrie's fallout with Nike didn't just show cracks in their business alignment, it exposed a lack of shared values. The moment things got messy, Nike backed away. Whether they were protecting their image or simply avoiding the chaos, the message was loud and clear. And for a generation of players who care deeply about how their partners show up in the world, that kind of response doesn't sit well. Players want brands that ride with them, not just cash checks off them. And let's not forget the most important factor in all of this, the money. Not just about contracts, but the bigger picture, ownership, royalties, real stakes. Current NBA stars are savvier than ever when it comes to business. They know their worth, and they want deals that reflect it beyond a base salary or endorsement fee. They want a seat at the table. They want to build something that outlasts their playing days. Nike, with all its influence, still leans into traditional models. But the new crop of brands is rewriting the rules. They're offering everything from equity packages and creative leadership roles, and even to profit-sharing arrangements. These aren't fantasy deals anymore. They're the new standard. That aside, we also cannot ignore the culture shift happening within the sport itself. This new generation of NBA players isn't built the same. They're expressive, unfiltered, and bold. They want every part of their world to reflect who they are. Their sneakers aren't just gear, they're statements, extensions of their personality, their roots, their story. So if a brand can't capture that vibe, players will move on without hesitation. It's not about nostalgia anymore. It's about relevance. It's about connection. It's about feeling seen and heard. Even Nike's strongest moments today feel like echoes of past glory. Yes, they've still got legends on the roster, LeBron, KD, Giannis. And yes, they continue to dominate All-Star Weekend with high-profile releases. But the buzz doesn't hit like it used to. The mystique has faded. The monopoly is breaking, and the new wave of stars isn't waiting around to be handed a torch. They're building their fires elsewhere. Because this generation doesn't dream of getting signed by a brand. They dream of building one. This isn't a takedown of Nike. The brand still has a massive influence, an undeniable design legacy, and a roster of all-time greats. But in a world where players are creators, thinkers, and disruptors, being the biggest brand is no longer enough. You have to be the right brand, one that listens, adapts, and innovates alongside the people it claims to support. Otherwise, you'll keep losing talent to hungrier, smarter, more agile competitors. So when you see another NBA star ditch the swoosh, don't assume it's a random move or a money grab. More often than not, it's a calculated decision rooted in vision and values. Players aren't just walking away from Nike. They're walking towards something bigger, something they can shape, something they can own. And in the long run, that kind of shift doesn't just change sneaker contracts. It changes the culture. Because at the end of the day, this whole movement isn't really about shoes. It's about power. It's about identity. It's about players finally taking full control of their image, their business, and their future. Nike helped build this era, but if they want to keep up, they'll have to relearn what made them dominant in the first place, listening to the athlete. Right now, that's what other brands are doing better. And it's a wrap for today's video. Thank you for watching till the end. We'd love to hear your thoughts on Nike and its showdown with NBA stars, so leave your comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in our next episode.